welcome to video number 11 of our World Explorers map. And you can remember we did in the last video, we did finished up with South America and Antarctica. And I think today we're going to try to wrap up all the loose ends. You know, that we've done all the continents, and we'll make sure that we have all of our activities checked off, and we'll go over some little details in addition to that. So let's just review what we did in the last video. We labeled the Amazon River and the Andes Mountains. We put in the Amazon Basin, Cape Horn. Those are a couple little extra things. And then over here we put in a mountain range in Antarctica, and we put the Weddell Sea. That was an easy one. And you can see I've got the coastline all shaded. I've tried to do all the coastline throughout the map. There may be some little spots I might have missed, but I'll go over it again the second and third time. Okay, and now I have a small list of things I want to do today. So let's check bodies of water first of all. You can see the first one that we haven't checked off is Baffin Bay, and that is right next to Greenland right here. You can see I've already labeled it B-A-F-F-I-N Bay, Baffin Bay. So that's easy. I've also got the Barents Sea labeled too. You can go ahead and check that one off as well. And a third body of water is the Bering Sea, just off the coast of Alaska. You know, and one thing that might be good to do too is the you can see I just drew in a little section of Asia where it almost touches Alaska, the North American continent, and we can put a little arrow to that little piece of little stretch of water, and that's the Bering Strait. And that really has a lot to do with explorers in a way too, because, whoops, sorry, Bering Strait, because the theory is that North America was originally populated by travelers traveling from Asia across the frozen Bering Strait and going down into North America, and maybe even down to, I guess, into South America eventually too. So that would have been an ancient exploration or immigration to this from Asia over to the Americas in this direction. So we probably should get that put on the map too. All right, now we can check off those Baffin Bay, Bering Sea, Barents Sea. We have some landmarks that we should put on the map. The Strait of Magellan. A strait is an area of water between two pieces of land, and we talked about the Bering Strait. I misspelled it too while I was talking. S-T-R-A-I-T. Okay, and then we've got the Strait of Magellan, which is right in this area. See where Magellan actually, we're going to talk about Magellan's trip a little bit too. But let's label the Strait of Magellan, S-T-R-A-I-T. Magellan. When Magellan was going through that strait, he called this island here, it looked like it was on fire. I guess maybe because of the sunset, or I don't know, but he named it Tierra del Fuego. And if you want to label that too, it might be kind of fun, which means land of fire, I believe. Tierra del, and then Fuego, F-U-E-G-O. Tierra del Fuego. I'll just put a little leader line to that island right there. Okay, so there's a couple of extra things. Now we've got the, yesterday we labeled the Canary Islands. I forgot to put islands. I'll put a little S there just to make sure you have that too. And then you've got the Cape Verde or Cape Verde Islands right here. This was a popular stopping point for a lot of explorers. So we definitely want to get those labeled. Okay, so we can check off the Cape Verde Islands, and then let's just go through a few islands that we haven't labeled yet. Here's one that I'm going to actually draw on the map. I'd like you to draw it. I've actually drawn it, and I've put Guam, which is the U.S. territory now. So you've probably heard of Guam. It's a small island east of the Philippines. So I've labeled Guam already, G-U-A-M, and that's in your list. We can also label the Philippines. Now, where am I going to fit it? Maybe I'll put this on a little bit of an angle. P-H-I-L-I-P-P. Let me double check the spelling. P-P-I-N-E-S. Okay, Philippine Islands. Okay, I can check those off the list. We should also, while we're over here, let's also label the island country of Japan. We're really tying up a lot of loose details right now, so I'll check off Japan and Guam, and we did the Philippines. Let's also label, this is something we forgot to do earlier, for Europe we should put the city of Lisbon, L-I-S-B-O-N, which is in Portugal. So we can label that. We don't have to put Portugal, let's just leave it as that, Lisbon. Okay, and if you want to just put a little dab of yellow there, that'd be fun. Right in that little star, that's the capital. Okay, now let me just look at my list. I've got a bunch of things I want to check off. So, Cape Verde. Oh, the Moluccas, or the Spice Islands. You can see I've labeled them. These little islands right in here. M-O-L-U-C-C-A-S, the Moluccas. Okay. Oh, that reminds me of another small set of islands, the Galapagos. I don't know if there were any major explorations there, but it's kind of a fun one to label because they've got so many animals out there. They're famous for those tortoises. Galapagos, G-A-L-A-P-A-G-O-S. So these are some little details. Okay, let's look through our mountain ranges here. We can check off that we did the Andes Mountains. So let's make a quick check. I think, Strait of Magellan, we can check that off. Lisbon. We labeled the Amazon. I went ahead and labeled the Columbia River, which is right here. This is the Columbia. I might have colored it green by accident. Let's go over it with a blue. Okay, and I also have the Yellowstone River right in here. I label both of those, Yellowstone and Columbia River. So let's check those off our list. I believe that's every. I'll check off Moluccas. I think that will pretty much cover all of the little details. I want to go over all of the decoration. You can see I've finished my border going around. I've got a pattern of green, yellow, and black for my border, which goes all around the map. You can see I've got the second compass rose labeled and colored. I did a third one over here too. You can see I've decorated some of the ships that appear on the map. We talked about those in the very beginning. And we have this little sea monster right over here, which was sometimes drawn on the maps. If there was an area that was unknown or considered to be a dangerous area, sometimes they would put a sea monster. So you can talk about that a little bit. We mentioned about provisions yesterday. Also in the front of the map, we have a little section about scurvy, which is a disease. A lot of the it's a sickness. A lot of people on board would get from. You can read about it from not eating their fruits and vegetables. Okay, so I think we've got quite a bit done. Boy, we've done so much work. I think the last thing I would like to do, mostly because I believe that this is probably one of the most impressive voyages ever by any of these explorers, was that of Ferdinand Magellan. And he was trying to circumnavigate the whole globe, okay? And it's an amazing story. I won't get into all the details because it would take too long, but I'll just highlight his route, okay? And we can talk a little bit about it. But you can see it leaves, if you're having a hard time figuring out, sometimes I just I'll go backward to Europe. It starts in Europe, okay? And you can just follow it down through the Atlantic. Now, I believe Magellan started out with 5 ships. And I didn't mention yesterday how Columbus started out with 3 ships. Nina, Pinta, and Santa Maria. But I wanted to mention that 3 ships for Columbus, but Magellan actually took 5 ships on this voyage. Okay, all right, so they started out and they went down along the coast of South America. Like I said, I won't get into all the details. I think there were about 250 people that started the voyage, and I think only about 18 might have finished. So you can just imagine some of the things that they had to deal with as they went along. But here's when Magellan went through the Strait of Magellan, and this is where he named the Pacifico, the peaceful ocean. It was so peaceful, he called it the Pacific Ocean. Okay, and he just sailed right through the Pacific. Okay, and this is where he came out on the other side. This is Pacific on this side, and he sailed straight along, and I don't know if he stopped in any of these islands. Maybe he stopped in Guam, I'm not sure, but I know he ended up in the Philippines, and they stayed there in the Philippines for a little while, but after getting involved in some local skirmishes between islands, Magellan was actually shot with an arrow and killed. So he died in the Philippines. Okay, now from the Philippines, there was only one ship left to come back on, and that was commandeered by somebody named Juan Sebastian Delcano. And you can see my little note right here, Elcano for Magellan. So from the Philippines on, it was Elcano taking over. And this was a tough way back because they were running out of food and so many different things. You can read about the details. But you can see this ship was able to kind of limp back all the way around the Cape of Good Hope and up through the Atlantic, and I believe it stopped in the Cape Verde Islands. Just about done here. And I think then at that point, you can kind of follow this route back right up to Europe. Okay, and that's the whole trip around the world by Magellan. So that was an amazing trip. I think maybe one thing we'll do just to allow you to see your work and make sure you've done everything. Let's just pause for a few seconds on each continent. Let's start with Asia. If you have to stop the video, you can pause it at this point and double check all your work. Okay, let's go to Oceania. While we're over here, you can go to Antarctica. Okay, and then let's go over to Africa. And a little bit of Europe too. We didn't do much of Europe because that's where a lot of these trips were taking place. There wasn't any exploration being done here in Europe, but you can see in Africa, there's been quite a bit of work there. Okay, let's jump up to North America. And we've also got South America. Make sure you have every little detail in there. And if you've gotten this far, I can say that you've done a lot of work getting this map done. And congratulations on all your hard work. And I hope that you continue to study much more about the explorers, things that we didn't have time to get into. But at least we do have a good basis on the physical geography, which could also be added to too. There's plenty that we could add to this map as well. But you and your teachers and take advantage of having an atlas at some point. Maybe you can refer to that and do a little bit more work. And once again, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. Bye.